Hi guys, welcome once again to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do your own fake nails at home, DIY style, save yourself some money, quarantine style, all of that good stuff. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope that I gave you guys enough information to be able to do it at home, and hopefully you guys save some money, some time. I do it because I don't want to be spending money on a bunch of nails every month or every so often. So that's just one way to save money for myself. So I'm going to show you the final product, and I'm really excited to show everything. If you guys have any questions or any tips or any other things that I should know, leave it down in the comments. So let's get to it.
Just a disclaimer, I'm no professional nail tech. I'm a beginner doing all the research, making it as easy as possible for you to learn, and showing you that you could do it at home too. Investing a little bit of your money will save you a lot of money in the long run. Okay, first things first, you want to go ahead and cut off your natural nail and make sure that they're even. So I'm going to do that with my nail clippers. And so the point for this is so that when your nails are growing, they, for one, don't show at the bottom of it. So if you reverse your hand, you don't see them under your acrylics. So it's going to grow out healthy and all uniform. So we're going to go ahead and cut that out first. Before this, I also made sure that I didn't have any other nail color on top of my nails or any clear coating. Just kind of use the acetone or nail polish remover to make sure that it's all clean. So now I'm just using my nail filer, and I'm just making sure that all of the nails are super straight. I don't know, just my preference. You could totally do without it, but I just like to make sure that my nails are super nice and free of rough edges. Warning: when using the e-file to file down on your nail, be sure to not stick to one place with the file as it's drilling, because you will burn yourself and you will have a burning sensation, and that's not going to feel good, okay? So don't do it. Just be gentle. Now to the fun part, prepping your nail. This is probably one of your most important pieces or steps of your whole entire operation, because this is operation, all right? And so what I'm doing is grabbing my e-file, which I talked about in my last video, and it's 20 bucks on Amazon. I'll link the link below. And it's so freaking handy, I swear. I'm using this specific bit because it's much more gentle than the other ones, and it's shaved perfectly for my nail. This is super helpful because it's helping remove any shine or oils from the nail to help adhere better with any of the acrylic or any products that we're going to add soon. I sped up this piece of the video, so don't go as fast as I am. I'm using the lowest setting. This nail prep is important because it will prevent your nails from lifting. Nail lifting sounds like what it is. If you were to run your fingers across your hair, you wouldn't want your hair to get stuck. And that's exactly what's happening when that happens, if it's ever happened to you, which I'm sure it has. Because I'm using the e-file on my left hand and I'm using the right hand for it, I'm using the forward motion on the e-file. On to the next step of our nail prepping process, using our cuticle pusher. This will be super helpful for our next step. When we use the cuticle e-bit, we want to remove the cuticle because cuticles are just dead skin. Remember to be gentle. Okay, now we're using a cuticle e-bit. This is going to help remove the cuticle even more, and it's super soft and gentle. I'm really just going to be focusing on the cuticle, which once again is dead skin. In addition to the cuticle, I actually also go over the nail fold a little bit to remove any of that dead skin. Because we're putting the skin through a lot, we're actually going to be curing it and replenishing it later on with some cuticle oil. We're doing this instead of snipping away the cuticle, just like at the nail salons. That's just my personal preference. It's easier, it's much less invasive than actually cutting it, and you save a lot of time there. Next, I'm pulling out my handy dandy nail tip box. So now I'm measuring the nail tips onto my nails, making sure that the nail tips fit perfectly to my nail natural tips. And this is actually super important as well. We want to make sure that they fit perfectly to the T from side to side, not too big, not too small. Now, if you run out of sizes like me, all you have to do is cut the sides of it with some scissors, just like this. Snip, snip, snip. Now I'm using some alcohol and some oil absorbent pads. You could totally use cotton pads as well, but I have these for my nails. It just helps with the cotton not sticking to anything else. But I'm using alcohol so that I can dehydrate the nail, remove all of the oils, and also sterilize my nail beds. Let it dry, let it dry. Let the action begin. Now we're going to grab your nail glue. This is super fire nail glue that I found on Amazon. The link is below. And so now, super easy, we're going to glue the nails. So important, make sure that you put it straight, girl. You don't want to have crooked ass nails. You don't. Trust me. I've made that mistake, and if you do, it's okay. If you want to adjust as you go, don't press too hard or hold on too much in the beginning, so you can stick it and move it around. Then once you're sure about the nail position, you press on for a few seconds and let go once it's all done. Important tip, make sure that the corners of those nail tips are super glued. Enjoy the moment, girl. Now you look like Evie Queen, but the next step is to make sure you are cutting it to the right size that you want it. At this point, I'm just eyeballing it, and I want medium length nails, so I'm going about medium length. If you want it longer, you keep it longer, you don't cut, etc. So this nail cutter actually helps it get pretty straight, and if it doesn't come out straight, it doesn't matter because we're gonna go ahead and fix that later on. Whoop, you seen that? Cover your eyes. Now I'm grabbing the nail clip and I'm just clipping away the sides. Because I know that I want coffin shaped nails, this is why I'm using this method. It's much easier than filing it down because it takes so much time to do that. We're just reducing the time, reducing the effort, and it's super helpful with these nail clippers because these happen to be straight. There are some curved ones, so you don't want to use that, but I'm using ones that are super straight edged, and it helps me clip some corners of it. So next, I'm going to use my nail file. Now it's important to make sure that the nail is super straight. I'm going over it a few times. Align it perfectly to the nail file so that you know that it's straight. Now we're making sure that the sides of our nails are straight. One thing to note here with filing the sides is that you want to evenly file each of the sides. So if I do it 2 times on the left side, I'm going to do it 2 times on the right side. So every time I do it on the right or on the left, I do the same thing on the other side. This will prevent your nails from looking lopsided or uneven, so this is really important. I also like to finish off filing the nail tip just like this. This won't be the last time you shape it, but this should be the main shape you want to keep. Now, I noticed that this nail is a little bit longer just by comparing it to the other ones, and I'm using my nail clipper to shorten it down a little bit. I'm also using my thumb to measure out the length of the tips, and that's just how I easily was able to compare the rest and just kind of go from there. And just as an FYI, the last time that we're going to file is later on once the acrylic is completed or finalized, just to get rid of all of the edges and make sure it's up to perfection. Once again, I'm using my handy dandy e-file. Now I'm using this red e-bit. I'm using the not so coarse tip. They have another one that's a lot larger, but I'm just using this one right now to file down that nail tip. I'm also going to focus on the part where we've glued the tip nail onto my actual nail, just so that we can smooth out the corners of that there. Just a reminder to go super light on this, and I'm using it on a light speed as well, a slow speed as well. I did quickly go over my cuticle or my nail bed just to make sure that everything is smoothed out. Once again, we don't want to spend too much time on one specific place because you can burn yourself or your client. Gentle is the key when using e-bits. We don't want to put too much pressure because then the e-bit would stop as well. Now I'm grabbing a cotton ball and some alcohol to wipe down my nails, to remove all of the dust, but also to sanitize it and once again, dehydrate that nail. Now, ladies and gents, this is super important. This is a product that I didn't have for a while when I first started, and oh my God, it made such a difference. You need it. This is a primer, and what it's going to do is prime your nail, and you're only going to apply it to your natural nail and not to the nail tip. This is really going to help the acrylic stick to your nail and make sure that everything looks flawless. What I personally like to do is apply it twice just to make sure it gets on every corner. I feel like this really helps the nails stay on longer, and I think it's been super successful. Onto the acrylic. Now I'm using some clear acrylic powder. You can use whichever one you want. I'm also using some colored powder and some glitter. Additionally, you'll need an acrylic brush. I have a large one, but you can totally use a smaller one. I actually recommend that for beginners. I also have the liquid monomer, which is going to help bond the acrylic powder and actually make it liquidy later on. Before beginning, I dip my brush into the liquid monomer and move it around, making sure that all the air bubbles are gone. Before every bead, this is exactly what I do so that I can get the right consistency, not too wet, not too dry. Example of a bead with too much monomer. And remember to do a 2 dabbing motion. Now an example of a bead with too little monomer. A perfect bead. We're going to grab our first bead and we're placing it on the apex and dragging it down to the bottom, the free edge. We want to taper it towards the bottom. This will help us have a nice curve at the end of the process. We want this bead to be slightly larger than the one that we're going to place on the cuticle. We want to use the body of your brush to lightly flatten the acrylic and use the tip of the brush to flatten towards the cuticle area. We are avoiding touching the skin, and we are also tilting our finger to help bring the acrylic down. For this nail, I'm adding a thin layer of clear acrylic because I know that I'm going to be adding some glitter over it. Now, if I knew that I only wanted a clear acrylic nail, then I would just keep on layering it on, meaning I'd top it off with nail polish instead of acrylic. To give my nail some glitz and glam, I'm using my glitter acrylic and I'm layering one thin layer of it. If I wanted to intensify it, I could have added another layer, totally up to you, but I wanted my clear acrylic nail underneath to show a little. Isn't it the cutest color? I totally did this off camera and I'm so sorry guys, my camera was so full and whatever, I had to go fix it. But what I did after layering on my glitter is I did one last layer of clear acrylic on top of all of this to seal everything in. As you work with your acrylic, remember to move any of it that gets stuck under your nail. I went ahead and finished the rest of my nails. So now I'm using this nail bit after I've completed all of my nails to the style desired that I wanted. So I had fun playing around with every single nail and every single one of them was different. But now I'm using this nail bit that has a round dome at the top, and it's actually, helpful because it allows you to file your nail without hurting your finger. So it's super useful. I spent, probably $14 on a set of different nail bits. And that's just because I wanted to invest in some other ones. There were some super cool other useful bits. So I'll also link the link below. They're super cute and really handy. The purpose of this is to thin down that piece right there between your finger or the skin and the nail so it can look as natural as possible. If you don't want to buy these nail bits, it's okay. You can go ahead and use that red nail bit that I used earlier in the video. Those usually come with the e-files. En este momento, I'm actually grooming the nail. So I'm clearing up any of the acrylic that has already solidified under my nail, which, it happens. We try to catch it as much as we can, when we're actually applying the acrylic at the beginning. But, sometimes it happens. And at the nail salons, they actually sometimes don't like to remove it, but I do, and I think it's super gross and it should be part of the whole service, so I like to take some time to do that. This nail bit actually came with the e-file, but you can probably purchase this as well on the side, but you don't have to. You can probably use something else too in need of this. Comment below if this has actually happened to you, where you go home and you notice that there's some acrylic under your nail and now it's bothering you. I hate it. We're almost there. Okay, we're using the nail file to make sure that we are removing the rough edges. And sometimes we can have some acrylic left over on the edges. So we're removing all of that, making sure that everything looks all coffin shaped and smooth and straight so that we can go on to the final steps. You don't have to do this, but it's personal preference. I'm using my nail file and I'm just straightening out the bottom of my nails and making sure that there's no more acrylic left over. Back to our red e-bit. This is the best e-bit for filing down and making sure that the surface is smooth, just because it has a higher grain type texture, so it's really going to help you remove all of that bumpiness and any bumpiness that was left over from the acrylic. And it's okay for your first time, you're going to have a lot of bumpiness, but this is a super important part, and that's why, you know, I invested in my e-file, because it was going to be super useful instead of using my nail file, my hand nail file. So I would really recommend to getting one of these. I love it, and I really recommend it. Once again, you're moving from side to side. You're going all over the nail until all of the bumpiness is so smoothed out. Now I'm using my 4-way buffering block. This is really going to help smooth the nail, remove any ridges from the nail as well, and file any of the edges. I like to use it just because it's an extra step of making sure that everything is nice and smooth so that it won't bother you later on. I got these from wish.com. It takes forever to ship, but you know, it's super cheap. I got about 10 for like $2. Had a little whoopsies there. You can also use this on, you know, the other hand to help buff it out even before you start, or when you're starting that nail, you know, cleaning preparation process. Before this, I actually washed my hands with water, no soap, to remove all of the dust from the buffing and the filing, just to make sure I have a nice canvas to apply this clear top gel coat onto the nails. This is gonna make them look super shiny, and then we're gonna put them into the UV LED light. Important tip, you only want to do a thin layer of that gel coat. Now we're going to cure it, or pretty much bake it under this UV LED nail lamp, and I'm going to cure it for about a minute. Now, only after you've cured both hands, use some alcohol and a pad. This is super essential because you are now wiping away any of the stickiness that may have been left over from the gel. Aren't they looking so nice and shiny? I bet yours are looking super nice too. And you're saving some money. You guys, send me a picture of your nails. I'd love to feature you on my Instagram. Para finalizar, we're using some cuticle oil just to make sure that we are replenishing all of the cuticles, just because they've went through a lot. We love them. We don't want to have them looking crusty and dusty, so we're rubbing it all over our cuticles. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Making it was really fun. Editing it was really fun. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, or message me, Instagram DM me. Stay safe out there during these crazy times. Don't touch your face, wash your hands, do some social distancing. I also just rebranded my Instagram account, and I also created a new website, and the new Instagram account name is Chula Aesthetics. Right here. And here is my website, chulaaesthetics.com. So show your love. I will love you forever. So don't forget to subscribe down below. Share the video with your friends. Share it on Instagram. Share it to whoever you want. Homegirls, homeboys. Please support. And once again, make sure that that button is working. And I hope to see you guys soon. Bye. Share with all your friends. Yo, you guys, my lashes are fucking throwing gang signs. I'm scared.